Shit, I forgot Bane was there. Shit. Fuck it. I mean, he's not going to
Trash.
bring you guys a championship, but I get it. All right. So,
Our,
good to have it.
our
From
players we
schedule.
already have are bringing us the championship, sir. Bane's just the cherry on top. That's all. I'm sure you think the same thing about Tyler Hero. It's okay.
I don't know. I don't know what this obsession that you have with Tyler Hero. I don't get it.
He's your best player. You should be thankful you have him.
I didn't say anything bad about Tyler Hero all of last season. Okay.
You love. I know he's your favorite player.
You should have.
So, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Here we are back, ladies.
Back.
Fucking up my intro. Just fucking up my intro.
We're all off. We're all off a little bit. We gotta get back in the flow.
Hey, this is my first morning drink in like a month. Okay, I'm slowing down. Okay, I'm slowing down.
Good.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy, CL Anthony, my main man, Bryce Ward, and the best two co-hosts in the world, Kobe Bean and Michael Franz. What's up, fellas?
Morning, gentlemen.
And needless to say, Bryce, you missed this conversation, but we are all hot as hell, so I'm pretty sure you're hot as hell too. Where you live at?
Oh, maybe a little.
All right, so we're going to get started today. We're going to talk about the Basketball Hall of Fame inductees that's going to be enshrined next week. But I got a topic that we're going to talk about first. I'm going to throw it to Kobe Bean first. Pat.
Yes.
Bro, why they doing Bay Doors like that, bro?
Who?
Why they gonna demote Bay like that?
I don't even
Doris
know who
Burke.
it is.
Doris Burke.
Oh,
Doris Burke?
Doris Burke, the NBA legend. Not NBA
Yeah, Bay.
basketball legend.
Yeah.
What did she do again? Can you refresh my memory? Did she do anything? Comment or something? What did she do?
Dr. Umar would be very happy with your response, I believe.
No, it's
Like who?
Doris Burke. She
Yes.
Was it something about the WNBA or something? I can't remember, bro. What happened?
Mm-mm.
She was a commentator. She was a great basketball player coming up in high school and college, and they demoted her from the telecast this past week.
I love when she does the games. You know, she's very insightful. I like her tone and her demeanor. Very. Did I say insightful already? I'm trying to think of some positive things to say about her. I don't know, man. Bring Marv Albert back and Bob Costas. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
Mike savages, Mike. Savages segment, Mike.
So I'm a fan of Doris. I always enjoyed listening to her commentary. She's insightful, as Pat says, but I don't know. She made a couple of random comments that kind of were a little bit off the wall during the finals. That I think made it questionable as far as what her position is. But when we texted about it, I said it doesn't surprise me because ESPN is the type that will take out those individuals that bring in ratings and replace them with other individuals, right? So it's funny. I'm sitting here when this happened, and I'm thinking of people like Dan Le Batard, Rich Eisen, which Rich Eisen now, because of the NFL deal, he's kind of back with ESPN a little bit here, which is why he co-hosted he hosted Sports Center a week ago on Stuart Scott's anniversary.
Brian on there.
So, they take it's funny with ESPN. They take a lot of these individuals that are actually really popular, very knowledgeable, and I'll never understand why they get rid of some of these guys. Pablo Torre's gone; he's not even part of ESPN anymore.
No, he's with
and these guys are they have successful podcasts and whatnot. They're good. Like, they're worth listening to. They could bring in ratings. And ESPN decides they have a time limit. They're going to bring in these individuals that are new and upcoming. Granted, you have to have a place to start you always start in the minors and move up to the majors, right? But some of these individuals, I'm kind of like, why are you getting rid of them now? It's got to be a business decision. That's all I can kind of chalk it up to. But outside of a couple random comments that didn't make much sense during the finals, I don't see why they would have done that. I don't think it was a good thing. I'm going to miss Doris, to be honest with you, but
Yeah, absolutely. Bryce,
it is what it is.
Your thoughts on Doris being demoted?
I'll be honest with you. I don't really watch a lot of ESPN because I don't really pay for that anymore. But for a long time, especially since it seems like they got bought by Disney, it's just more of a corporate entity. And so since like a lot of other entertainment, I don't think the stock and the money is quite the same as it used to be. And I think we're just seeing a scramble for the company trying to figure out what to do next. It feels a lot like MTV from like 15, 20 years ago, where it's like people kind of are not watching as much. And so the channel itself is trying to figure out ways to keep people engaged. And it doesn't even feel like it's as much as the same thing that we grew up with as it is, now. So to be honest, outside of her face, I really couldn't tell you much about. Like I said, I don't watch enough ESPN or enough of their content to really care either way. It doesn't really affect me, so I don't really have a lot to say on that firing specifically because, like I said, I'm just not too engaged with ESPN anymore. Some of their, talking heads are just a bit too much for me. So like I consume most of my sports content in a different way than ESPN presents. So I really don't. I really probably couldn't even pick her out that much out of some of the other people. So it doesn't really affect me. I don't really have much to say on her. Good luck if she's as good as you guys seem to act like she might be. She won't have a hard time finding another job. But in terms of ESPN, I really don't have an opinion. I don't watch it.
Quick question for you, Bryce, before we move to the next topic. Would you rather listen to Stephen A. Smith or Dr. Umar Johnson?
At this point, I think Dr. Umar. I can't stand. It's gotten to where Stephen A's voice is too much. Like he could be saying something real, and his voice at this point, like I can't take it seriously. Kind of like how I was with Skip like 5 years ago. Like you can't listen to those guys anymore. They're just so they're annoying. They're annoying at this point. So yeah, I'm good. I'll listen to Dr. Umar. I know where he stands on a lot of things. So I don't think I'll be surprised with that. But yeah, in terms of voice, I can't listen to Stephen A.
All right. So we're going to move on to our next topic, which is the quote unquote main event of today's podcast. Again, the 2025 Basketball Hall of Fame with the enshrinement ceremony taking place next week. Part of this roster, I should say, is the 2008 Redeem Team that we're all familiar with. So, in honor of Kobe Bean, I'm gonna let Pat start it off. What are some of the thoughts you had about that 2008 Olympic gold winning team?
It was it the past weekend? It was Kobe's weekend. His birthday was Saturday, and then Black Mamba Day was the following day. 2 days in a row of Kobe greatness. And I had time to reflect.
You were trolling me.
Hey, first thing in the morning, I had to let you know. A lot of engagement as a result of that as well on my socials. But I had an opportunity to reflect on the greatness of that team, especially, with LeBron and D Wade. He was probably the best player on that team during that run. And Kobe, what a great great moment in NBA and basketball history, man. I'm gonna be serious. I was being a little sarcastic there, or trying to be, but yeah, man. The Redeem team was something special. Um, man, we had J Kidd, Darren Williams, D Wade, LeBron, Kobe, uh, the Toronto Raptor, Chris Bosh, alien looking ass. We had
Was Melo?
Tyson Chandler. We had Dwight Howard, a young Dwight Howard. Bro, that team was an amazing team, and led by the late great Kobe Bean Bryant. It was I don't know. That's just surface though. I can go so much further into that, but just the great moments of Kobe dropping that dagger three and putting up that finger, and or that D Wade throwing him that alley and he catching it and just throwing it down, or LeBron being the big cheerleader because he didn't really do too much during that time. It was just, a great moment in history, and they definitely brought us back to our dominance for a short little while. Well, we still been winning gold.
No, we good. Yeah, we good.
But yeah, man, it was quite a time, and a great memory to recapture for me, and I'm glad they're honoring them in the Hall of Fame coming up. Yes.
Bryce, what are your thoughts on that Redeem team? What do you remember from 2008?
Is that the year that Kobe ran through Powell?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll be honest. That's what I remember the most. It's because there's so much, especially lately. People have been telling a bunch of Kobe stories, and that keeps popping up on my timeline. The video clips of I think it's LeBron and Wade. Might even be someone else talking about Kobe telling them what he's gonna do, and just listening to that story was pretty funny. I think is a good situation to kind of show you Kobe's mindset, especially in that in the Olympics. So the attitude of trying to kind of gain back some swagger that we seem to have lost over time. But was Melo also on that team? I figured he had to.
Melo, forgot about Melo. Yes.
We're gonna get to Melo later, but yeah, Melo was on the team.
Okay. I was just because one thing I think about when I think of Team USA, and he obviously never got the ring, but the accolades that Melo was able to create for himself through those kind of team efforts, the USA teams. He stands out to me as like a guy. It's like because of the fame of Kobe, LeBron, and Wade, the things that they had going on at the time. It's almost like looking back, it's almost easy to forget some of the other guys on that team. Like you were listing, like Darren Williams had his time. I mean, nobody really forgets about Jason Kidd. He's still super involved. You see his face all the time. But some of those other fringe guys, it's crazy to think about how talented that team really was and the ceiling for it because I mean, the way we run our USA program is just so different than other international teams. So it would have been interesting to see, some of those guys' careers have went slightly different. That specific team stick together. I mean, more like Dwight Howard, and Darren Williams specifically. It's kind of like not long after that, whether it's from injuries or wrong team situation kind of thing, just kind of fizzling out. So I look back fondly on that time, and especially like I said lately, we're all nostalgic. Kobe's not around anymore, so to hear some of those stories again come around, it's fun. It's fun to revisit that time. It's exciting for Team USA basketball to look back at that time and to just know it's like, well, you can always get back to what you were. And it's like we have hit or miss teams sometimes. It's like we still mostly bring home the gold every year, but it's a little touchier than it used to be, and that time kind of reminds us of really what Team USA can be if they really like kind of buckle down and focus on that as an aspect. So No, nothing but fond memories, and like I said, that the Kobe stuff tied in with it lately has been fun to watch too.
Mike, close it out for us.
So I, I'll give a lot of credit to the position of having Kobe on 2018 as far as, and this is going to be random that you hear this from me, but as far as the leadership goes, I think when I'm comparing 2004 to 2008, when you look at 2004, they were very, very, very inexperienced, very inexperienced. You know, you're handing over the Olympic team to a LeBron James who was only in the league for 1 year. When 2008 happened, he had already been to the finals, led the Cavs to the best record in the Eastern Conference, etc. D Wade had a ring under his belt, right? So we have that 4 years. It wasn't like a slow motion growth for these guys. It was a sped up, a faster way of having these guys actually mature a little bit. The thing that I like though is like there's just that extra oomph, that extra push, and that's where Kobe came into play. I was watching this documentary. I think it was actually on the Redeem Team on Netflix, and it was talking about how like this is when LeBron started learning to be the first one in the gym, the last one out, right? Because when these guys were sitting here going to, the club or whatever it was, I think one of the stories was these guys are walking in from going out one night. Kobe's walking out of the hotel room. They're like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to the gym." He was going up to shoot free throws, do whatever it was, get ready. But he was always in the gym getting that extra work in. But that also speaks to the volumes of his maturity level at the time too, because he was 12 years in the league. By that time, he had 3 rings under his belt as well. He was dealing without Shaq, so he had his ups, he had his downs, etc. So he matured quite a bit around that time as well. So I think it was a kind of a perfect storm for leadership and a good starting point for some of these guys to actually take a lot of things more seriously. So it was a great thing to watch. It was a great team to watch. As far as going from bronze to gold, yes, it's the Redeem Team. We've always had the talent in the U.S., but I think with the incoming talent from the overseas teams, 2004 was a little bit different, where it's like, okay, now we need to be a little bit more prepared, and they were. It was talk about the play with Powell, like Bryce is talking about, very memorable, right? The whole thing was just awesome for them to be able to turn around and go from bronze to gold, and see a lot of these guys actually become the players of who they were, right? Who we've come to know them to be. Dwight Howard winning 4 Defensive Players of the Year, right around that time. I think the worst. I don't want to say the worst player, but I think the one of the weakest links, which was either Darren Williams or Tayshaun Prince. Those guys are still really good, right? Tayshaun Prince was a defensive-minded individual that won a ring with the Pistons, right? But he wasn't a superstar as we know some of these guys to be. But they all gelled very well in every way that they needed. So, I'm glad to see that this 2018 is going to get that recognition.
Yeah. The one thing I think about with it is sacrifice. And when it comes to like Team USA and the Olympics and shit like that, I'm very blunt. No team should ever beat NBA players. No foreign team should ever beat NBA players, period. That's just where I'm at. That's the expectation I have every time. If they lose, it's because they didn't have their shit together. And 100% blame goes onto the players and coaches. And with that said, with the makeup of that team, I think the biggest thing there was them being able to sacrifice and be selfless. So, for example, Kobe Bryant can step foot on any basketball court and be the alpha dog and outscore anyone. He didn't.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy, Kev.
No, I'm being honest.
I'm joking, bro. Go ahead.
LeBron James can step onto any basketball court and be physically dominant and force his will on other players, right? He didn't do it. These players came together as a collective. And yeah, I'm going to stroke my boy's ego a little bit. The leading scorer on the team was coming off the bench in D-Wade. So it's just like,
he was the man.
That's the sacrifice that I think that everyone put their egos aside. And I do think that Coach K was a big part of that because not too many coaches can navigate all those egos. Okay. So that was huge. That was huge. So that's what I think about with that team. But again, let me make it abundantly clear. Any international tournament that NBA players are in, they should win 100% of the time. I will never change my mind. I don't care how good the world gets. I don't care.
I agree.
We have the best players in the fucking world.
I misunderstood you when you first said that. I thought you said something else. But that 04 team, was it Tim Duncan on that team?
Yeah. Tim Duncan, Vince Carter.
Vince Carter wasn't on 04.
No, the other guy was on his team. Yeah. The other New Jersey Net guy.
Iverson, Marbury, Wade, Boozer, Melo, LeBron, Emeka Okafor, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Tim Duncan, Lamar Odom, and Richard Jefferson.
They were young, very young.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they were very young and inexperienced at that time. A lot of those guys came in like 2002, 2003.
I think Larry Brown was a bad coach.
And Larry Brown was a coach.
Well, ironically enough, though, one of his assistant coaches, actually two of them, Greg Popovich and Roy Williams. So you would think that like maybe some of that leadership that those guys have and some of that experience that those guys have, it could have helped Larry Brown. But I mean, I've always felt that Larry Brown, I'm not a big fan of him. I think he kind of spurned my Pistons at one point, by leaving the way that he did. So for me, as far as leadership goes as a head coach, I'm not a big fan of Larry Brown. They could have had somebody better than that position.
Got it. Well, they fixed it.
They did.
Did Pop never really want to be in charge of it? Because it seemed like Pop would be like the easy choice, even before Coach K.
During that time,
yeah, I don't think he wanted it.
Pop got it after Coach K, didn't he? Yeah.
I would have to check 2012.
I thought it went from Coach K straight to Curry, but I probably forget it.
I thought Pop was in there somewhere. I could be wrong.
He was on the staff for sure.
He was on the staff. Okay. So
2012 and 20. I know 2020 wasn't he? 2020. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll look. We're old. All our memories are bad. Bryce, I'm going to have you lead the next one. So Dwight Howard has been elected to the Hall of Fame. Ups and downs throughout his career. Lots of drama off the court, but we're going to keep it strictly to basketball. What are your thoughts on Dwight Howard?
I'm excited for him. Not to tear down his accolades, we've seen, players get in with a lot less on their resume. So I'm happy for it. I'm happy for it's turned into a story itself. He's asked a few guys to go up there with him or to present it to him. I know Patrick Ewing's one. I'm blanking on one, but the story is like him and Shaq finally coming together for it. He wanted Shaq to be up there as well. And their history together is about as tense as you could get between two guys who come from, it feels like have a similar type of story and have a similar type of, I wouldn't say respect around the league, but in terms of their dominance for a while, it is very similar. And Shaq's always been extremely hard on Dwight, or at least that's how he's described it, as a tough love situation. And for them to actually sit this aside, or at least for Shaq to appear as if he's sat aside as Shaq. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's bashing Dwight in the next year or so again, because it's just who Shaq is, I think. But to see them be able to come together in this light for this situation, I think is a positive. Um, I think it's always mattered more to Dwight, obviously, more than Shaq about how their relationship is going. I think it's bothered Dwight way more, obviously. So Dwight just seems to be more of the sensitive individual, as we know. Maybe it's just a big age gap. Explains a lot of it, but I'm happy for Dwight. I'm glad that Dwight was able to convince Shaq to do this because it's like the cherry on top for everything else. I think Dwight would still like to play in the NBA. I don't think he's done trying to play basketball as he's been in the big three, obviously. But in terms of his NBA career and any kind of real significance towards pro basketball, I mean that's been over with. So it's nice to, I guess, put a cap on that part and to have him honored, and to have the players up there who are going to be presenting him. I think it's a big honor just to have them, mentioning your name. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his legacy to be honored. I think he's deserving, and no matter how you feel about Shaq or him separately, it's for them to see it. I think it's also a big positive. So nothing but good things to say. He's deserving. I'm happy for him.
Pat, I'm going to throw it to you next, since we have the Shaq dynamic here. With you being able to see both players in their dominant stages, do you think Shaq was justified in his criticism of Dwight Howard?
I don't know if he was justified in his criticism. There were two different players. The way they dominated the game was totally different. Shaq was more of an offensive dominance, an offensive presence. Dwight was more of a defensive presence on the court. So their style was different. I think it was more of a Shaq is petty, man, and very childish. Still at the age of 50, whatever he is.
Mhm.
So I think that had a lot to do with it. The comparisons between the two, both of them being drafted in by Orlando, the Superman thing, I think that really got to Shaq. Um, so I think in a lot of it was more on Shaq's side than Dwight's side as far as the beef.
Mhm.
At one point, Dwight got tired of hearing all that bullshit, and he started firing back. But yeah, the beef and the pettiness that was going on, I'm glad to see it end. I saw that they reconciled during the Big Three this summer,
Yeah.
and they had a moment for that. I saw that. And I think they had reconciled before, but I think Shaq went back to the same bullshit, talking shit again. So Dwight got mad about it. But yeah, they dominated different in different ways on the basketball court. I think Shaq dominated at a different level overall. Uh, Shaq was unstoppable. I was watching the 2001 playoff run, the Lakers playoff run, where we swept the whole league. That man was unstoppable, bro. Just give him the ball anywhere near the basket, he's gonna dunk on your whole team, bro. So Shaq,
Look,
I mean,
you
go ahead.
look. You gonna give AI credit for winning game one.
Oh yeah, that's the only game we didn't win. But hey, I think AI had like 40. He had like 40 something in that game.
You gonna
But
give him credit?
yeah, we won the next four straight though. Cam, don't forget that. But anyways, Shaq was dominant in that playoff run, along with his his Batman, who's averaging 37-7. But let's get back to Dwight. Dwight was a great player. Was a great player. I think he can still play in the NBA today. He keeps himself in great shape. Very dominant on the defensive end when he played. Great personality. A freak athlete. Uh, just over a great player. From from a young age, just came in the league, made Kobe immortal when he got baptized by Kobe in Orlando. Got to throw that in there. Put nuts all in his face.
I'm pretty sure he liked that.
Nuts was in his face. Even Dwight loved it more than I liked it because we all know how Dwight gets down. But great player. We're gonna keep it on the court. Great player, great career. Just great guy. Well deserved. And he should have been a top 75. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, I've pivoted on that because at first I was in agreement that he shouldn't have been on there, but lately I'm like, yeah, Dwight Howard should have been on there. Mike, here's my question to you about Dwight, because even though we included Shaq in this, I was more on Shaq's side than I was on Dwight's side because I expected Dwight to be more than what he was. Mike, do you think that some of the off-court infractions kind of clouded the league's perception of Dwight as to why he's not playing in the league right now? Because he still looks physically fit. He looks great.
Yeah, I mean, not just that, but we're in a faster-paced game at this point. Mm-hmm. So I think that maybe teams are not necessarily looking for, I feel like the way that the game has transitioned into not only faster pace, but also more of a spread floor, right? With the way centers play these days. I think he could be on the team. I think he could run with the team. I think he can do pretty well. But I also think that it's not his type of position anymore. But yeah, I think as far as the off-court things, it's probably also part of it as well. Some of the players always chime in, whatever it may be. Yeah, they're not cool with certain things. So I wouldn't be surprised if any of those things came up. Not just that, but with any of the drama that has gone on, right? I mean, let's be honest, it's been from team to team here and there. You have to expect. It's more or less you have to expect something to be coming, and maybe these teams don't want to deal with any of that. So
right.
I don't know. I'm a fan of Dwight. Like, I like Dwight. I think I think as far as like what we're looking at on the screen here, right, with the image, you look at this and it's like 8-time NBA All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and 1 ring, which a lot of people don't consider that a real ring for some reason. So, it's like, if that's the case, then take that. Like, that's a decent career right there. But I kind of, when you pulled this up, I pulled up a list of snubs, and I'm looking at these snubs, or a list of what could be considered as snubs. And he's better than all these individuals that are on here. So he deserves to be there. He definitely deserves to be there.
Yeah. I still want my get back for that 2020. I mean, y'all earned it, but
Hey, Cam. Cam.
Yes.
If the Heat would have won that championship that year, do you think they would have counted it, considered it a legitimate championship?
The Lakers winning it was a legitimate championship.
Oh,
okay. Well, the media, a lot of people in the media don't consider it, or like your fan base don't consider it because it's a LeBron hater situation. That's what.
Yeah, fuck the media at that point. No, the Lakers.
Calm down.
Are the champs? Well, we're the champs in 2020. Even though my starting lineup was injured, it's okay. It's okay. Some
of the greatest basketball we have ever seen play was in the bubble. Okay. What was the boy name? Warren for the Pacers. Okay.
TJ Warren, who's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bubble. What's the boy play point guard for the Nuggets? What was his name? What is his name? He was a beast. Bubble LeBron. Oh my God. Come on, bro.
So,
some of the best basketball ever played.
We're gonna give some love soon to Big Cuz, but I do want to say Michael Porter Jr. was caught up in some Dwight Howard stuff.
Oh my God!
I just want to throw
Did you see that? You saw that?
I saw it.
I caught that like maybe an hour before we hopped on because I was just surfing Twitter.
Is that just more becoming more not mainstream, but I guess more well known? Because doesn't he have a bit of a reputation? I know Cam knows more about that.
There's a hilarious story I have personally with Michael Porter Jr. This is what I'm gonna say. It's not more mainstream, but what Michael Porter Jr. said on the podcast is accurate. He's like, we can have any woman we want. That's easy. So we want to try different things. So apparently, a lot of athletes have been trying different things for a long time. So some do it discreetly. Some come out like Dwight Howard and say it doesn't matter where I put my wood at. So that's where we're at with that.
I think it matters less or more if they're still winning and dominant. I think if Dwight Howard could have stayed healthy and kept being dominant, people look the other way. But as you start to, when you don't perform, you don't get W's, then people have a problem with what you do.
Did you see what Michael Porter Jr. was just asked though? Like he was sitting on the dock by a boat with one of his friends, and they were doing, I think, a podcast episode. Did you see what he was asked?
No.
That's what I was talking about because it's starting to go around. It's mainly about the content, like, and it's like this is what NBA players are talking about these days. And the question was, would you rather have a thought daughter or a gay son?
What did you say?
I'm not going to say what he said.
No, we're good.
But no, he said that either one of them, either one would bother him. He didn't go with one. He used different terms, but he said, yeah, they both would bother me. So
even though he's sleeping with got it. All right.
So
got it.
But that's going around because it's like this is the type of content that NBA players are doing these days.
His PR is in heavy work mode, like all the time. He's very honest about his opinions, boy. Mm-hmm. So
Joe.
Yeah. Shit.
If y'all don't know what we're talking about, Google it. Let's Google it. So I want to give a shout out to Big Cuz Carmelo Anthony for being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Again, as Bryce said earlier, more so for his Team USA accolades, his college accolades at Syracuse, and then you have his astounding NBA numbers. Even though he didn't win the championship, it's okay. Mike, I'm going to throw it to you first. What are your thoughts on Carmelo Anthony's Hall of Fame induction?
Like I was just saying, like I was looking at this list of players that have been listed but not inducted. And if Dwight Howard is above these individuals, Carmelo Anthony is far above these individuals for what we saw. The thing to consider though is like during the beginning parts of their years, right? We had slight dynasties. Well, I'm not going to say slight dynasties. You had the Lakers dynasty that came in that ended right before they came in, but you had the Spurs dynasty, right? You also had to throw in there, even during his career, it was the Lakers back-to-back, right? And then you've also got Golden State's that started. Granted, LeBron was involved in a lot of that, but there were Miami, the Miami run as well. Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
So, it was like it was just a handful of teams that you always saw in there going for a ring, right? So, unfortunately for Carmelo, he was just in this position that he's kind of like the odd man left out with a lot of skill, right? Does he deserve one? Absolutely. Does he deserve two? Absolutely. But unfortunately, the chips didn't fall for him at that point. So he's kind of, I would say he's a victim in that sense. But does he deserve to be there? Absolutely, 100%. What we saw, a lot of these that are making it without rings, or maybe even one, right? A lot of it was an eye test. And I think when we're sitting here talking about gifted scorers, Carmelo Anthony is one of the most gifted scorers we've seen. So, it's like why wouldn't he be there? He did everything he could. He was the outright leader at a young age with the Denver Nuggets. In fact, it's arguable that he probably should have won 2003 Rookie of the Year. Let's be honest.
That's tough.
So, it's like that's if that were the case and it happened, he'd have a Rookie of the Year under his belt, which added to the resume.
Yikes.
So, I mean, if we're talking basketball here, I'm a LeBron fan, but I mean, I can speak to the other side as well. So, he definitely deserves to be there.
The only reason why I have it, not even an issue with that, at that time, Miami wasn't getting a lot of national press, and D-Wade's numbers was actually better than Melo's in the rookie year. That's the only reason why I'm pushing back on that just a little bit. Yeah. Plus, D-Wade went further in the playoffs where Melo and LeBron didn't in that first year. So that's the only reason why I'm pushing back on that.
Well, we also know that D-Wade also had somebody else as well.
No, his rookie year. Shaq didn't come
his rookie year.
Yeah, D-Wade was 40. D-Wade was 45 as a rookie.
But let's be honest. 2003, the top 5 picks in 2003 are arguably the best top 5 picks outside of Darko Milicic, which embarrasses me to this day.
96 draft was pretty serious.
It was, but those guys that were in 2003 ended up monsters.
Bryce, I know you talked about Melo earlier, but any final thoughts on Melo going to the Hall of Fame?
No, none other than what's kind of pretty much been said. He's nothing more than deserving. I appreciated all the counter LeBron programming he was able to give us when everything we were getting was LeBron. I'll say, like, I'm not a LeBron hater, but I'm not a LeBron fanboy either. And so, especially back then, I would buy in to one side of the argument more than the other about some of the ways, I guess, LeBron would play up the contact and the fouling. And not to say that he doesn't get contact every time, because LeBron gets hit a lot more than, some guys. Like, I'm not saying LeBron doesn't get hit, but what I'm saying was I preferred the edge and the look and the style to Carmelo's game more than the bruising line driver that LeBron was. And I appreciate LeBron more as I got older and things like that, but I was drawn to Melo, his style of play more, even more so than like KD, because just the build and the attitude, everything was there for Melo to be an exciting player. And I always wanted to, I guess since they're in the West, it didn't bother me. I always wanted to see him have success with the Nuggets. I always wanted to see the small market teams with their star, kind of prove it, the way Milwaukee finally did with Giannis all those years later. It just seemed like whether the coach, the teammates around Melo, the attitude Melo might have had at the time with his age and his maturity, it might just not have been the right situation for that team to win a championship. I do think that was his best, kind of opportunity with some of those Denver teams, but just didn't work out.
Lakers.
But it was a problem. And in different times, the Spurs, of course, that you guys even had problems with. So it's the West has just been a tough division to win in from time to time, as we've seen. But I was always just a big Melo fan from afar, and so the New York stint, I thought I had high hopes for that, especially, I know Stoudemire was getting older, but the first few seasons he was in New York, it was almost like he was a train of a player. Even though Melo wasn't healthy, that team looked talented on paper. It's just a kind of the players couldn't get healthy all at the right time situation as well. So I know that was later in his career, but I was still a fan of him then. It's just well deserving, and I know ring talk, or how many championships is a part of the conversation, but with the type of accolades a player like Melo has, his reputation in the Olympics or just international play in general, and the prolific scorer he was. He has more than enough of everything else to it. This isn't a conversation. It's a matter of how do you want what specific things do you remember? It's not. It shouldn't be an argument or anything like that. So I'm excited for both him and Dwight to get in, and I'm excited to listen to their speeches and just to see the whole spectacle. Usually not as interested in the hall, like watching the Hall of Fame, or just more or less reading about it. But this year I'm a little more interested. We're getting into that range where a lot of these guys, like, we didn't just hear
From
about
our
them.
era.
It's like we got to really watch them, and so it's starting to mean a little bit more. But yeah, nothing but great things to say about Melo. A lot of fond memories. No one's deserving more, so it's nothing but great things. I'm happy for those guys.
Pat, I want to ask you this. This is no shots and no shade at Big Cuz, but I want to ask you something.
Big Cuz.
That's my cousin. So,
Crib? Oh, Anthony. Okay. You
He
Puerto
claims
Rican, bro?
I think he claims like half the league as long as he likes them.
You
yeah,
Puerto
yeah,
Rican?
Melo, he's Puerto Rican and black. I'm saying. So, so with that said, here's my question, Pat. With the skill set that Melo had, and I know he wasn't set up great in Denver. There was a conflict with him and George Karl.
The whole team.
A huge conflict.
Yeah.
Melo never led any team he was on to the NBA Finals. The closest he got was conference finals. Do you think some of his greatness was taken away by certain situations that he was in?
I could agree in a couple ways. Not only was his coaching situation fucked up in Denver, George Karl is a piece of shit human being. Kenyon Martin talks about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a piece of shit, bro. Not only that, they were in the Western Conference. So you had teams like the one I proudly represent and the San Antonio Spurs. The West was crazy during that time, so he had to fight through that. I think those are the two that stick out at the top of my head that prevented him from going during those years. And then when he went to New York, it was injuries. Bryce, thank you for making me remember why I love Carmelo Anthony. I'm a big fan of Carmelo Anthony. And during that time, it was LeBron fucking everywhere. LeBron is LeBron, and he was the counter to all that bullshit that we were hearing at that time. I remember those playoff runs when he was on the Knicks, and they matched up against the Heat, and Melo was giving LeBron big problems. LeBron couldn't do shit with that. But, they had the better team, and they eventually won. But a 6'8" forward who could shoot, he had handle, rebound. He wasn't a big defensive guy. He would play when he wanted to. But his game wasn't flashy. One step pull up, two dribble pull up, post your ass up. You can't do nothing with that. He dominated as a freshman in college. It's a great player. He could score at any level. Mid-range god. Like, bro, this man was a great player. Great player. The way he carried himself, he had a bad bitch. Like, I wanted to be this man, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, low key. I'm going to have to retract that statement. But anyway, bro was a great player, and that him being the counter to LeBron was a big factor in why I liked him. Hated to play him in those series, in those playoff runs we went through. We had to go through Denver a couple years, Lakers in 6, but they were hard-fought series. hard-fought series to get through Denver, and he was a major part of that. We had nothing for him. Nothing. Fortunately, we had a better team, and we were better coached, so we persevered. But, man, what a great career, man. Two-time Olympian, right? He won 2 gold medals. They were high praise for him on that Redeem team. I forgot about that. Everybody was giving him high praise, and I was surprised about that. How they like kind of made him like the MVP of that.
Melo was doing work.
Yeah,
Any
man.
Olympic
Like,
team he was on, he was doing work.
And okay, for him on that team, we just talked about that team, the players that were on that team. For them to elevate him and put him in that level, that says a lot, bro. That says a lot about the player he was, his contemporaries, and what they thought of him, you know? So I have nothing but positive things to say about Melo. He was a great basketball player.
Let me ask you guys real quick, because me and Cam talked about it offline. It's been funny with some of the, this is just like a little funny side conversation with Beasley, right? That's his last name, right? That's playing
Michael Beasley.
Yeah, Michael. Okay, I was just making sure I wasn't messing up. In their primes, because I think one's still in playing shape, and I don't know. Carmelo doesn't look like he's in playing shape. He looks like he's in relaxing state right now. For a long time, the one-on-one conversation between those two guys seems to be one of the more interesting ones in my head. I mean, not so much right now, but what do you guys think? Say, throw it back, 8-10 years ago. Who do you think wins that one-on-one?
Let me take this.
Okay, go ahead.
Michael Beasley just said this week that he wished he would have listened to Pat Riley. Okay?
Oh yeah,
6'10". Melo's 6'8" now. Beasley was a legit.
6'10"?
He's 6'10", 6'7".
Ooh.
Okay, with Melo's entire skill set, cooked LeBron James 1-on-1 in practice. Michael Beasley did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not hard to do. Bro.
But what I'm saying is that Beasley would destroy Carmelo Anthony.
What?
From a physicality standpoint.
Because they look to be similar size and build to me. I know that he's got like 2 inches on Melo, I guess, but it just seems like they were closer.
Well, Beasley had broader shoulders. Now remember, Melo did slim down a little bit. Okay,
and he's stronger though. He's stronger.
Which Beasley has slimmed down now too, but I just
because he's a crackhead. That's why.
The stories I've heard about the one-on-ones at that time with Miami is that he was destroying everyone on that team.
There's the reason why he was picked number 2.
Right. His off the court issues is what derailed his career.
Mm-hmm.
There are some mental issues there as well. That's not documented, but they're there. We gave him 3 chances. We signed him 3 times in the hopes that he would get it together. That dude is one of the biggest what ifs I've ever seen that played for the Heat. It's wild.
In the NBA, period, bro.
It's wild. But
I think I don't mean to cut you off there, Seal. My fault.
No, you're good.
But I think this all goes under your question when you were talking about Carmelo and how Pat was mentioning George Karl. If you don't have the right leadership, it starts at the top and moves down. If you don't have the right leadership, you could be set up for failure. And I don't think Michael Beasley had that leadership. I don't think Carmelo had that leadership coming in. So their ceilings were actually a lot lower than what we probably could have seen had they had somebody that could have led them a lot more, right? Someone like a Popovich or a Riley or, a Phil Jackson, someone like that. They had those opportunities. It would be a whole different ballgame with those 2 individuals.
Well, I mean, Beasley's first head coach, I believe, was Pat Riley. Then it went to Spoelstra. So I think he had the support system. again, like he said just a few days ago, he wishes he would have listened to what they were trying to instill in him. George Karl and Melo was a different situation because George Karl was just was just a fucking lunatic. He was a lunatic.
Yeah.
Maybe Beasley just shouldn't have been in Miami with all that around him at the time.
Right.
Possibly.
Maybe, he ends up in, Utah. Maybe things go a bit smoother.
D Wade was there. I mean, what's the excuse for D Wade? D Wade.
Wade had the right mental.
Yeah.
Wade had the right
accountability. Yeah. There we go. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's why I keep saying Beasley has admitted that he should have listened. So he's putting the blame on himself, but he could have. Realistically, he could have been the second coming of Carmelo Anthony. He could have been the second coming of Kevin Durant. He could shoot. He had size. He had handles. He just didn't have it here. And I know that eats at him every fucking day.
Bro, Beast, I'm a big fan of Be Easy.
Yeah.
Big fan. Hey, he challenged Carmelo over this summer to a one-on-one.
Yeah.
And Melo was considering it.
We've talked about this, me and Cam offline, and that makes, for me, if I'm Carmelo, that makes no sense. Like, I would never do that because you have nothing. You have nothing to gain, everything to lose. So it should never happen if you're Carmelo.
Money.
No.
Carmelo don't need money like Beasley needs money. Carmelo's straight.
Do it for the fans, Carmelo. Do it for us.
I want to say one more thing about Big Cuz before we wrap it up today. Pat kind of hinted to this. Even though I know it's a split right now, but I'm hoping they get back together. But goddamn, Lala Anthony is the best thing that Melo has.
Oh, okay.
No. Let's be real. Let's be real.
What?
The best thing that Carmelo did was cheat on Lala because of the episode in what's it called that she did. Yeah, that was a highlight. I have a question for y'all though. Like, if we don't mind going a couple minutes over here. Just looking at the NBA Hall of Fame. It's not even the NBA Hall of Fame. It's just the basketball Hall of Fame.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that, or feel like, at least with the NBA, that it's large enough, it's been around long enough to where it can garner its own Hall of Fame, kind of like football and baseball may? Because I'm looking at this list and we've got referees going in. Danny Crawford, he's going to be in there.
Fuck Danny Crawford for all time.
We've also got, Mickey Arrison's going to go in, right?
Ooh.
And then there's WNBA players as well. I don't know. Me personally, I kind of feel like the NBA should have its own. There's even college players that go in there. But Billy Donovan as a coach is going in, but college players go into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. NBA should. It's big enough. It's been around long enough, and there's been enough players in the league historically, in my opinion, to garner its own Hall of Fame, like some of these, like the other major sports. But that's kind of not the case here. We're still sitting here. We're over 75 years, and we're still talking about including everything basketball, collegiate, women's, even. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a diluted Hall of Fame.
Yeah. The expectations are lower, but I believe it's sacred, so I wouldn't touch it.
They would have had to done it like 20, 30 years ago, and then I could probably, be easier to get on board with it. I agree with the sentiment. I just feel like it's too far gone, kind of thing.
Pat, your last words.
Shout out to Lala Anthony. Used to be bad back in the day.
Still bad, bro.
The Kardashians and changed your face. I love Boricuas. Oh, shout out to Doris Burch. She in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think she is. So with that said, we're going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. Everyone stay safe. We are out.